What is the 4% rule? Is it still a good rule to use when retirement planning? Well, I'll answer that question, and if you stay to the very end, I'll go over what a leading researcher in the retirement planning world has discovered is the new 4% rule coming up. Aloha everyone, my name is Matt Ragudo. I'm a chartered retirement planning counselor and I help individuals navigate their financial future toward an ideal retirement. So if that's something you're interested in and want to get rid of that uncertainty and learn to plan for your retirement, subscribe and stay tuned for more exciting information about retirement. Before we get into today's topic, I must disclose that as a financial professional, the information and materials researched for this video are for information and educational purposes only. They should not be relied on for or be thought of as any kind of investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice. Be sure to always consult your individual financial, accounting, investment, legal, or tax advisors before initiating any kind of transaction. So, what is this 4% rule? First, I want to dissect what it is, who thought it up, what the assumptions were, and is it still viable today? So first, let's tackle this 4% rule. What are the rules for this 4% rule? Well, the 4% rule pretty much takes the assumption that when we retire, our retirement asset or our investment portfolio or whatever the retirement asset could be needs to last 30 years, because that's pretty much the arbitrary number we're going to use for someone's retirement. And if you take 4% of that amount, adjusted for inflation each year, that is what the 4% rule is. Pretty much saying 4% of whatever that retirement number is, that you have, that asset amount that you have, you spread that out, adjusted for inflation every year, and the money should last 30 years. So what were the assumptions that Mr. Benjamin, the financial advisor in California, used for his diagnosis or for his report? Well, he used data from the 1930s and 1970s to a 50-year period focusing on severe market downturns, utilizing a 50-50 stocks to bonds portfolio. And he used the historical data, of course, because that's all we have access to. And through a stress test, he pretty much found out that there's a 96% chance that those numbers, the 4% adjusted for inflation, will last 33 years. Now, before that, people, like I was saying earlier, said that a 5% was okay. And what he found out was that scenario run through his analysis wasn't very promising. Now, the reason for that poor assumption of the 5% was because many experts were using a 10% compounded annual growth rate for stocks and a 5.3% interest rate for bonds. And as you can tell, and if you're watching this video in the year 2020 when it's being filmed, you would know that even now that amount is quite high, as most bonds are paying below 2%. And after our recent stock market problems, most of the gains from the past 8 to 10 years have been completely erased. So that begs the question, does it still work today? Will the 4% rule work in the year 2020? Well, leading researcher in the retirement planning space, Pfau, who is also a professor in retirement planning and retirement research, he actually found that a number much lower was the actual new 4% rule. And what he did was he ran a Monte Carlo simulation. So you don't have to know what that means. Just understand that it's a variable simulation model that pretty much ran the computer till it almost exploded. The technology wasn't available to Benjamin, but just know that he ran an extensive analysis and he found out that the 4% rule no longer had a 96% or a 100% success rate. It had a 69% success rate. So that means that pretty much 3 out of 10 people utilizing this 4% strategy would actually not make it through retirement. And that's pretty much due to things like the sequence of returns, portfolio structure, things like that. And if you wanted to learn more about those things, you can go and check the videos up there. So, what is his number for us in 2020? Well, Wade Pfau said that a 2.4% withdrawal rate adjusted for inflation every year is the new 4% rule. 2.4%. So, what can you do then if that 2.4% or 4% rule is too small and 4% doesn't even work? Well, you can do what's called holistic financial or holistic retirement planning, and that's where you take into consideration the 4 L's. The 4 L's is longevity. That's the risk of living too long or outliving your money. The next is liquidity. That's the risk of having a rather large, acute, or one-time lump sum of money required for medical expenses or perhaps fixing up the house. The next L is lifestyle. This is more of a want category where maybe I want to go on more vacations. I want to go and visit the family out somewhere in the continental US. And lastly is legacy, and that's the need or the want to leave something behind for your children, for charity, or for something you believe in. And the plan shifts from I need to get 4% from my portfolio to how do I position each expense with a particular asset, investment, and then you can build a more holistic plan that covers all of your bases where you're not dependent on the market, the stocks, your financial professional to have a foolproof plan. You have a foolproof plan. And that's what holistic retirement planning and financial planning is all about. And that is what Wade Pfau and retirement planners like myself focus on when we build a retirement plan. Investments, stocks, annuities, pensions, all of those things are factors in the plan and tools that we use, but none of them are the plan. So, is the 4% rule still good today? Research says no. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you found value, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing for more retirement planning topics and share it with a friend. State if you think that it might benefit them. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.